I'm laying there, I'm in and out about consciousness now, and then I just remember like the fireman, 2 ladders, stretcher up, and getting to the top, and them saying, I need his blood. And I was like, fucked. I think the ambulance man was like, I need to save this guy's life. I didn't care about what he was doing. I was just like in and out of consciousness. And then that's it. I remember the next thing, I woke up in coming out of an induced coma after 6 weeks. So he brought a big kitchen knife, and we're walking down to this place, and we're talking about what we're gonna do. Yeah, I'm gonna put this. I was loose then. I was like, I'll put it in his head. My mum couldn't come. That's the thing. Really, I say it hurt me, but I didn't learn from it. But it was harsh because she was too broken to come and then have to leave and not be able to leave with her son.
Chris, welcome to the show, brother. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, mate.
So, Chris, you've been on the road. You've been in and out of prison for 10 years.
Just under, yeah.
You've had a devastating incident where you've ended up losing your arm. But before we get into that, where did it all start for you?
So I was born in North London, Edmonton. Grew up in Enfield. From about 4, from Tottenham to Enfield. Just me and my mum, like from what I can remember, it was good. I got like my mum's got a sister, got a son. She's got a son, Cole. So me and my cousin, and then my nan and my granddad. Really small, compact family. Like we're spoiled. I'm an only child on my mum's side, and I didn't really see my dad's side. So yeah, I was spoiled. I wasn't really a naughty kid. Like just a normal I say like a normal boisterous boy, like playing, fighting, like with your cousin, like nothing mad, just like growing up in it, We used to go on holidays, my nan took us on good holidays, good Christmas presents, birthdays, everything was good. We just lived in a council estate in Enfield, in a high-rise block, and like we weren't rich, but like
weren't poor either.
We had the things that make you rich at that time, do you know?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Definitely. So, what was school like for you?
Yeah, I used to love school when I was younger. Like, I didn't mind school. Like, it was good. My primary school was Enfield. It was Worcester's primary school. And, like, someone sent me a picture recently of me and him in the school because he must have watched another show or something. And he sent it to me. And, like, yeah, I was happy. My face was smiling. I liked school. I think it's just going out and playing, and nursery and up to primary school was good. Like, I didn't mind it. I enjoyed it.
So when did you feel like life changed for you?
As I got older, I started like seeing people out, but also my dad come back in my life. He started ringing me and saying he's going to take me go-karting and that he's coming back from work. And then...
Had you never seen him before this point?
I don't remember him because he was gone. He was there when I was 2, up to I was 2, but he was gone. And then I don't really remember him. I didn't until he come back. Then he come back around. Like one day he just turned up and there's this guy, and like I was shy. I didn't know him. Like he was a stranger to me, but he's obviously saying he's my dad. And then, as shy as I was, he was cool. He was in like flash cars, you know what I mean? Nice brand new cars. Like I remember he had this silver convertible BM, and he had a phone, and I've never seen mobile. It was a big brick phone them times, and like things that you think, oh my god, this is cool, like, and you gravitate towards that. So yeah, it didn't take long till I started like
idolising him.
Yeah, I suppose. And he was different, innit? Like not my mum loving. He's just teaching me like. I don't think I've ever said this. At that age, I liked the police and like their cars when I was with my mum and that. And then he come out and he's like, nah, they're bullies. They're bully boys. We hate them. And it was like, all right, cool, we hate them.
We as well.
Yeah, we hate them. And like, yeah, he used to let me sit on his lap, drive cars. He's just different. Like you could just, energy's different. He's like masculine. It's not that feminine love. It was just a totally different thing that I'm not used to. And I think kids need. And yeah, it was
100%.
Obviously in the right way. But so, yeah, he'd pick me up. He'd either take me to my cousins, and he's got a massive family. So I'd meet my cousins, see them, I'd play with them, he'd drop me off where he goes, or it'd just take me out, and this went on for a while. And then one time, I never forget it, like me, him and his friend are driving in one of his cars. I think it was a BMW, the silver one I told you about, and we're just driving and we get to the lights and he's sitting there at the lights and someone bips just to say it's green, and he gets out and he beats him up. And I remember I'm looking in the backseat over, looking what's going on.
He's going mad.
He battered him for bipping the horn, and I was like, and he jumped in like hype, and I was like, yeah,
This guy's the man.
Yeah, not so much. Yeah, I thought
at the time
this is cool. Like I was like, wow, like I was surprised. I think I was a little bit nervous as well. I'd say if I like because I've not seen that, but
all of the excitement, the adrenaline, like
I didn't forget it for a reason, and that kind of set the tone of, okay, this is how we deal with people that we're getting. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, like that went on for a few years. Like I would see things, the way he gets angry, shouts, like that demeanor. Yeah, that was.
So how long was he in your life for?
From about 8 to 10.
Right, so a couple of years.
Yeah.
And what happened after? What happened for him to go away?
He just stopped coming, and like I'd get onto my mum all the time, like where is he? Because they might have argued or whatever. I think I started like kind of blaming her or whatever, and then.
What have you said to him and stuff like that?
Like, where is he? Why is he not coming? Do you know what I mean? Like, and then she just sat me down one time. Must have been the most horrendous decision for her. Like, you got your kid, you got to sit him down. And I'm like, I'm watching Fresh Prince. She's like, no, you can't watch it. Now I'm bugging out. Like, what do you mean? Like,
yeah,
you know, I love this show. I love this show. Don't take that away from me. And she's like, no, seriously. And then she had this way of like, Christopher, when that comes out, is peak. So Christopher, and I'm like, yeah, like, oh. And at them times I was still nervous of her. Like that faded because she never punished me. Like she just talk in a tone, and that used to scare me at them times. So I was like, okay, put it on, put some news on, and then I watched him. He done some horrible crimes like that, and he got 3 life sentences to run concurrent. So basically he's gone, 15 years gone. It didn't really sink in at that time. I slapped back on Fresh Prince.
What did you?
Yeah, well, yeah, after, and then like I don't think I really deeped it. Like I didn't really process it. And then I did. And I'm not like, I've never spoken on the crimes, but what he did made me have intense feeling of shame. And like, honestly,
did you know that at the time?
No, I didn't have a clue, but I've recently, and I didn't have a clue until like I was nearly 30 when I started actually understanding how through this Brene Brown, I would watch the content and I was like, oh my God. And she just changed my life. So yeah.
How do you think that shame affected you unconsciously then?
I know how shame affected me. So the secrecy, the silence and the judgment, what I learned from Brene Brown is if you put that in a petri dish, says this is her words, it grows exponentially. So when I learned that, it was like, okay, so, but she said, but if you do this, so talk about the shame, but it have to be with met with empathy and connection, and shame can't exist in there. So the holding it on, the secrecy, the silence, the judgment that I did, it made it grow exponentially. And honestly, some of the behaviours that she said is highly correlated to anger, aggression, and loads of other things. But for me, I didn't know at the time, but definitely 100%, that's what happened. I internalized that fear of judgment, and it bred fear. And then I would be like, fear of not fitting in. It took away, I felt inadequate, like I didn't belong, like I was unworthy. And that combined, and no negative on my mum, like I love her to pieces, we've got the best relationship in the world, and it must have been the most awful decision for her to have to, that he put her in, to make me watch that, but not to want to lie to me. But what I noticed is that being told to do something, because of that, once I processed it, it was like, ooh, brain goes into protective mode, and it's like, actually, that hurt last time, Chris. So, do you want to listen to when they tell you to do it? But you try going into a school, hugging the shame, and not being wanting to told what to do. It's a recipe for disaster. I was being a class clown just to like impress and grab validation and feel belonging or feel worthy, and I'd escalate and just be disruptive and just cause so many problems for teachers just to feel that belonging. And it's like, but this is all now I understand this. At the time I didn't have a clue.
It'd be like trigger warnings all left, right and centre.
Right, that shame can be awful. Like, I think, in my opinion, it's the worst emotion because it brings out the other emotions that are bad, do you know, if it's not dealt with. And no one likes to talk about it. No one wants to,
Why is that?
What I learned, and I don't want to seem like I know, but what I've read from her work is like, people, they don't want to discuss it. They either say like, no, I don't have it, denial, or yeah, I do, but I don't want to talk about it. Do you know, like, I think it's just, it's hard, isn't it? It's vulnerability. It's exposing yourself, and talking about things that you could be judged for and condemned and disliked and made to feel even more unworthy than you already do. So yeah.
Did you ever feel like you had anyone that you could talk to it about, or was it?
I feel like my mum would have been 100%. She asked me all the time, but I pushed her away.
Right.
I pushed her away. And I feel like that tough guy bravado that I was putting on, that facade, it didn't align with probably talking about it. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, 100%.
I'm bad. I don't need to talk about it, you know?
Yeah.
No, you're not. You're broken, and you need to really get it out before you become fixed, you know? So, yeah, I never spoke about it.
So what was life like on the road for you?
Well, so I went through school. I got chucked out of a few schools. Like I said, being a class clown. But then, I started getting into fights with kids, and as you do. Like, one time a guy asked me to have a go on my bike. My mum's always told me, no, don't let no one on it. And her motto, was if someone hits you, hit them back twice as hard. And I stood on that. So I had a fight with this guy, and it was the first fight I ever had, and he tried to have a go on my bike and ended up punching him and fighting him, and I beat him, and I was like, I had this, I don't know, I got a bit gassed off that, really. I needed a reality check then, but so that started from there, and then you just escalate. Like, I'm trying to seek validation from people that are older than me, so I'm wrapped around the elders, and it's like, yeah, man, you belong here, man. Your anger's good. Come here, man. We love that. Like, hold that. I don't like the word manipulated, but I feel like I was used to an advantage because of the way I behaved, for sure. But again,
you was naive as well, weren't you?
Yeah, and like now, I just didn't understand, and I was just seeking validation. But obviously, when you look back, it's like it's all accountable. I'm accountable for all of it, and I should have had a better emotional strength. But this is the reality. I didn't, and this is what happened.
What did happen?
Yeah, I got involved with olders. Then we started selling drugs. I moved. At that time, we got evicted from the house in Enfield.
What would you get evicted for?
I'm not too sure. I think things got on top of my mum with all that on her own, and they just took the house. I remember one time they just come, and we ain't allowed to live there no more. So we had to go to Cheshunt with my nan, and then eventually my mum bought a house in Bedfordshire, but that didn't last long either. But I was at my nan's for a bit. So I had a little circle in Cheshunt.
How old were you around these sort of ages?
I think we left there at like 12, 13. Yeah, and then I think it started selling like hash them times. Like, that's how old I am. No one smokes hash no more. Not that I do drugs, but yeah, it was a hash thing then. Then it just escalates, man. Different types of like drugs.
Thai weed.
Yeah. But like I said to you, we moved to Bedford. I think my mum, because I got chucked out of the school in Hoddesdon again, my mum bought a house in Bedford with her partner. Ended up getting chucked out of that school just before my GCSEs because I'm not religious and I didn't like RE. So what I done is say I need to go to the toilet, and on the way to the toilet, I'm like, yeah, set the fire alarm off, come back, and I got bagged for it like a donut, like just to get out of a class. But everyone had to go and sit on the playfield, you know.
You're getting out of it.
Fuck, what an idiot. That's me. That's what the things I was doing to just still try and seek this validation. But so yeah, that I didn't stay there for long. We was there for about a couple of years, and then I moved back to Cheshunt, and that's what I say about 15, and that's when I really started getting involved in shit, I would say. Like, yeah.
How so?
So it started, funny enough, like I met a guy called Ash, we'd ride bikes. He taught me how to ride a bike. I knew how to ride peds, obviously. It's like riding, it's just easy, innit? But gears, I didn't know how to ride gears, but I could drive a car. So it wasn't hard. It was just, he taught me to transition from the car method to get like bike. And we was on this, we had a little 65, I think I might have been 14, maybe 15, and we had a little 65, I can't remember, DT or something it was, and we was riding it on the roads. Obviously you can't, so we got helmets on, and then the police pulled up in front of us and blocked us. Now I'm riding, but I'm a nervous rider, yeah. He's jumped off the back and run off like a done one off.
Runner.
Yeah, more about him later. He's a dog, and like I swear, like I'm like shaking, don't know what to do with this bike, right? And I'm revving it, and then I've clicked it, and it's just gone up in the air, and I wheelied at this fed, and he dived out the way, and I'm like, it was just a total accident that worked out to be well. Like, I did not intend to wheel it at him and get away.
You got away with
it. But it paid off. He moved out the way and I got away. And yeah, I went down some back lanes, drove to my nan's, put the bike there. And then Ash come back later. But yeah, he would always come with bikes. Another time, he come with a Gilera 125. I can't remember what they're called. I think they're called Gilera runners or something like that, yeah. And like, we was out licking shots on it, and my phone rings, yeah, and it's this guy, he's obviously stole this bike off them, yeah. It's a stolen bike, but he stole it off them. And they're ringing me, giving it, you black this, you monkey, all this stuff, right? I said, oh God. All right, cool. Where are you? Told me where he is. No, it's Berry Green in Cheshunt.
Well, you went to go...
I went back to Ashes. I said, I'm going down there. He's like, obviously, do you know what this guy's like from jumping off the bike? He's like, I'm not coming. So he gave me an axe, right? Like just an axe, and I was like, thank you, thanks for that. But you stay here in the same, yeah, good luck. Let me know how it goes. And his brother's like, I'm not letting you go. Perry, good guy, rest in peace. He died recently, yeah. And good guy. He's like, I'll come with you. I'm not letting you go on your own. So he brought a big kitchen knife, and we're walking down to this place. And we're talking about what we're going to do. Yeah, I'm going to put this... I was loose then. I was like, I'll put it in his head. And I didn't. I turned up there. Cause obviously, I was fuming. And that triggered, like, I've had trauma. Like, I forgot to touch on it. But, like, when I was a kid and my dad went in jail, the neighbours started calling me the N-word, chasing me up the road. So that... When this guy sprung it, I'm like, reminders. What? Are you mad? Like, not again. Not again. And so I've gone there. And then, there was like 30 of them surrounded us, but they didn't have no weapons. And then me and Perry are back to back, like, so swinging at the ones that are coming near us. And they're calling me all these names, yeah. You stole my bike, you done this. Obviously, I'm not G'ing Ashley up, yeah. So, like, I'm just saying, fuck with the bike. What you're saying is not something that. And then I'll never forget it. I don't have to expose him totally. There's this guy that's with them, and his name's Tundi. I'm gonna just put it out there because he has to own that one. And like that name says how I think you're gonna know he's black, and they're all calling me this, and he's there like, get him, like, he's like, I'm like, right, and I kept, and I thought, like, but luckily,
what has the world come to, like
what's going on, like he must be going through what I now know is shame. Like, he didn't believe in himself, he didn't have no self-worth either, did he? Because he couldn't have, because
he wouldn't have aligned himself with people like that.
You cannot be tolerating that, surely. So I get it now. There must have been some, like, feeling inadequate or what I've learned. But at the time, I was like, what the fuck? What are you doing? Like, but luckily, the police pulled up, and then everyone ran. So it didn't escalate. But I did see them later on in the journey again. Yeah.
What was that recently?
No, I see. So, like, I think I was I'm not sure, but I was with my granddad. I think I was about 15ish, 14, not long after that happened. And with my granddad going to the cafe, now I see the one that was calling me on the phone and his best mate. And they're like trying to have it with me with my granddad. I'm trying to like not let him get, but my granddad's like, what? You got a problem? I was trying to hide it from him. He's like, come then, we'll go to the park, Chris will fight you both. I'm like, what? He's like, 1 by 1. He's my granddad's old East End Cockney guy, like grew up in Hackney or, yeah. Is that, I think it was Hackney. He grew up in Hackney, yeah. And he's rough and he's like, he's been around that life and yeah, he's not having it. And he's got short man syndrome, man. I told you earlier. Yeah. He's got short man syndrome, so he's not having it. Like, cool. And don't forget, like, I'm 14, 15. He's like an adult. So he's like, cool, let's have it. Like, we went around this park and I'm fighting this guy now. Like, so we're having it. And then I get his hood over his head. I'm kneeing him in the head, yeah. And his nose is fucked. And like, I got him because once his hood was over, he was fucked. You couldn't see. And his friend tried to get involved. I remember my granddad fling him off. Wait your turn, he said to him. I said, this geezer, man. And he always laughs about it now, even to this day, he laughs about it. Like, and then, so his friend's on the floor and I turned to him now and he's like, no, just get my friend, I'm going. And then my granddad walked off like, good boy. Good boy. And that's the mentality. Like, fuck it. If they want it, they have it. That's how he thinks.
Stand up for yourself.
Yeah, but he's had a lot of shit happen. Like he don't have it. Yeah. Even now today, like he tells me like, oh, someone said something the other day. I had to fuck it. Stop it. Read Brene Brown.
Good old granddad. Yeah. Read Brene Brown.
Yeah.
So what happened? For you after all of like this kind of being on the road, I suppose, like
it never ended. Like again, at that time I didn't feel how I feel now. I never had no self-worth, so I'm still doing all these crimes. So, but the thing is, I moved friends groups, a lot of circles. I'd have friends, but I'll be around a lot of people. So yeah, what was we doing? Like dealing drugs. Like there was a time where we had these pills, right? And these pills were made out of everything legal in them, right?
Legal, like?
Yeah, so we had a guy that worked in like a, what do you call it? Like, he was a pharmacist, but he worked in a laboratory, yeah? And he said, I can make pills out of totally legal stuff, but they get you buzzing like you're on ecstasy. We was like, and he was doing them like 20p's for 10, he was buying like 10, 20,000 at a time, and he was doing like 20p's. At that time, they weren't going for 20p's, like minimum you're getting 50p at that, for that amount. He was like, all right, cool, give us a tester, get them, give them out. People like buzzing off them. So me and my friend...
So from something that's totally legal?
Totally legal, yeah, so he told us. But obviously in your head you don't believe it, but it must have been. So me and my friend at the time that had this connect, we was knocking them out, like thousands of them. And one time I've gone to the lockup now and I'm meeting this guy for 5,000. I go in, get a bag, 5,000, come out. And as I'm walking like towards where he is, there's a police officer that's like there to the right of me. And she shouted me, so I walk behind the van, but I throw the bag, like it's some Louis duffel bag, under the van when I go past, right? And then go, all right, what's up? And she like, what did you just drop? And then I was like, nothing, run off, yeah. And I jumped in the car now. So I've got in this car and he's seen everything that's happened, my friend, and he just drove off. So we're like, fuck, gone back to his mum's house now. He's like, I said, my prints all over it, it's like curtains. He's like, I'm like, he got on the phone to the guy that runs the laboratory. He's like, are these 100% legal? And I rate my friend for this, right? He come up with a plan. He's like, look, we'll go to the police station. We'll say that we were scared. We thought he was being robbed by people pretending to be police. We've just started an energy tablet business. All right? It sounds fucking ludicrous, right? But we went in the police station and that's the response we got. As we told the lady at the front desk, she not only laughed like that, but fucking untold police come down and thought we've just nicked the world's dumbest criminal. Because they got stamps on them of like doves, yeah? Or something like that. I can't remember the exact ones. It might have been that because there were so many different stamps. You could have whatever stamp you wanted. And so we're in the cells now and like we've had the 24 hour. They're trying to test it. we've been questioned. We told it. We stick to that story. 36 hours now to get the extension because the test ain't come back. And then my friend, I hear him shout me in the fucking, because they put him up the other end. I heard him shout, "Yo, Chris." I said, "What, bro?" He's like, "It's come back dog worming tablets, bro. They're releasing us." I said, "Say nothing, man." I was like, "Yeah, calm."
They were
Dog worming tablets. That's what it's come back, the test. They couldn't do anything. They bowed us for a month. What happened is we had to go back to Edmonton Green Police Station. So we rolled back there together. They NFA'd us and passed us back 5,000 pills with our
They had to give them back.
Had to give us back to us.
Oh my!
Like, we walked out with we had it because I don't know if you know about pills, but they come in see-through bags, wrapped like vacuum packed, like you would get loud, and we just walked out with these pills like this. Out of Edmonton Green Police.
I bet you were laughing all the way home.
I was. He wasn't, because after that he was terrorised because they knew what he was doing, pulling him over. Because them times it weren't like it is now with stop and searches. Like I was like, what, 18 maybe? I don't know. I don't know what age roughly, but it was a different kettle of fish 20 years ago. Then do you think they care about fucking police pulling over like all this? Get out of the car, can smell weed. Get a bonnet. Get on the bonnet. Like put your hands on the bonnet. Like it weren't like how it is now, or like you can't pull them over. No,
you can't.
None of that, bro. It's like get out of the car, can smell weed. I'm searching the car. I think you got weapons. Like, and that's it. Like,
Yeah.
But he got terrorised. Obviously, I lived in Hertfordshire, so I was calm. I'll just go back to Hertfordshire. But he done loads of crimes in my area that I had to take so Hertfordshire would be on me. But yeah, he got terrorised for that.
Like what? Like so that you would have to take the blame for you? Is it?
Well, like we'd do crimes and then. Like you get nicked and police would be on me because I live in that area.
Right.
But the Met, I don't see them like he did because I was living in Hertfordshire at that time and my line's in Hertfordshire. So he was getting terrorised because they was pissed that they had to give him 5,000 pills back and we was walking out laughing at him. Like, yeah, that was all right for me, but you live here, bro. So every day you're on that board and they're getting onto you. And he was getting terrorised, like unbelievable, coming through his door all the time. Yeah.
So what would you be getting up to in your area?
It'd be done like a few I'd sell drugs. But I've also done like robberies at the time. I remember bumping someone for pills, pretending there was 5,000 and putting like at the top like 100 pills and then tearing it open in front of them, saying they are taking their money off them. I was just active.
Who were you robbing? Like, was it just that you were doing, or were you?
Yeah, that and like selling drugs. So I'd get whatever I can get. I was mainly coke and weed, and then when the pills come, we was doing them. Yeah.
So how did this lead up to you having this serious accident?
So like, I was, I don't know, like 21, and I was behaving in a way where I was getting orders. So I'd get nicked for that stupid shit, like whatever. What did I get nicked for? That might be possession or something. And I had end up getting an order where I had to go and do community service, and I refused to do that. So then I went to court for refusing, and then they put me in jail for the first time for a breach of an order.
How long was that for?
That was the first time I went in jail. It wasn't the first time I committed a crime, but it was the first time I went in jail, and it was only 6 weeks. So I've gone in and like, you get, it was at Hertford Court them times, that's shut down now, but like, I was there, kept me to the end. When they keep you to the end, yeah.
You're going.
You know you're going because they just probably don't want to keep you in the cells, just less people to hold. You know you're getting birded, like not birded because 6 weeks ain't a bird, but you know you're going to prison. So like I took some weed and that, knew it was coming, like, and then yeah, you get on the bus and it's like, oh god, I'm going to prison. Like it's all fun and games doing the crimes on the road when you're around people. But when you go to prison, you're single. Like there's no one with you. You're not with your guys. You're not got your whatever you use on you. You're going to prison and you're gonna potentially meet the people that you've been doing the wrongers to. So on the sweatbox, you're like, oh shit, who's in jail? Like, I might bug. Like you're thinking these things like, what's it like? Who am I gonna see? What the screw's like? You've only seen it on movies. Like it's daunting. If anyone says it ain't, it's daunting. And then you get through the gates, and like you're just given a number, like cattle, given a number. here we go. Here's your bed pack. And at this time, I wasn't in this situation. So here's your bed pack. Here's like your plastic knife, plastic fork, plastic spoon. Like, go into the jungle now. And you don't know nothing. It's like, you might see a nurse and that, but you don't know what's coming. Like, the real problems are not within their offices and that. That's not their, it's the real prisoners inside, isn't it, when you can get harmed. So I went in and they put me with this guy. So in the morning, it's about when you come out in the morning, because everyone was banged up when I went on the wing. The cell's like tiny, like it's first time I was banged up with someone that I didn't know. Tiny little cell, toilet there that looks fucking disgusting.
What was it like being with another cellmate?
To be honest, it's like, yeah, you got better questions to ask him because you don't know, you've never been in jail. So I'm sitting there just chewing his ear off, like, what's it like? What's it this? What's that? Who's it? It's my man here. You know, I'm just giving him bare questions because I just want to know what the environment's like. Because it's just the unknown. That's the uncertainty of prison. And once you come out in the morning, I come out to my next door. Literally, my next door was the guy from my area that I get on with. Like, we're good friends. I wouldn't say good friends, but we were actually friends. And that was it. It was like patterned. He was nice. He just got 18 months. He got 3 years after 18 months. It was all right. The time flew. My mum couldn't come. That's the thing that really, I say it hurt me, but I didn't learn from it. But it was harsh because she was too broken to come and then have to leave and not be able to leave with her son. So she sent my auntie and my uncle, who's been to prison. So he'd come. He said, "Yeah, we're doing a bit of porridge now, yeah." And like, he finds it funny, but like, yeah, like my auntie broke it down to me, like, your mum, she couldn't come here. So
devastated.
Yeah, because, and then when you flip it and think, imagine your mum in jail. That's when I think I really understood the impact of how it hurt her. Because I couldn't sleep if she was in jail. Imagine like people badding up your mum. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And she's got them thoughts running through her head, and it's like, oh, yeah, no, I see your pain.
But you also spoke about how you pushed her away a lot. So I don't know. Yeah, even thinking about it.
No, that's like now I think about that. That I didn't think about that at the time. No, sorry, if that was definitely not the thought at the time. It was all self-centered and all revolved around me. I'm the one doing it. I'm the one in. Yeah, a lot of that. No reflection. No, like, in the sense of how I'm impacting other people. None of that. There was none of that. That's now how I'm thinking. And yeah, I did push her away, and I think my behaviour pushed her away even more. Not intentionally, but yeah. So that flew past. Really, nothing really happened in there. Playing pool, I was good at pool, winning money off people.
Really, yeah.
I'm still good at pool now, actually. And that was it. It was easy, really, bro. And then what happens is you're like, oh, this is the worst they got for me. That's the mentality I come out with, because as soon as I walked out that gate, got my phone, I text everyone in the phone, said I'm back. I spent some time with my mum and my auntie who picked me up. Then I went and got a trim, obviously. Then I went straight to get some food, and I was straight back at it that same night.
Were
so,
you? Yeah,
I learned nothing apart from that's the worst they can give me. And I'd recently lost my license in between that, so when I come out, I don't know.
How'd you lose your license?
Drink driving.
Oh.
I got back for drink driving. I used to always think that the 2 penny, that 2 penny rule, where the people say, yeah, put 2p in your mouth, and it didn't work one night. It didn't work one night. So they took my license just after coming out, and then not long after losing my license, I end up buying a bike. And I was just using this bike to drive about lick shots. And one night I was in the pub with my friends, 2 of them. One of them gets a call because his baby mother's crashed the car. She's gone into a tree. She died on the scene.
She's died?
Died on the scene with his daughter in the back.
What about the daughter?
Yeah, the daughter was fine. He had to shoot off, but he didn't know that she died until he got to the scene. So me and my other friend are there. Now this is where these issues come in from, like I was like drunk, obviously that's one contributing thing to it. But like I was paranoid that he was going to steal this shitty bike off me or something. And I was like, nah. He's like, nah, he kept saying to me, leave it here, get a cab. He He was really concerned.
You're thinking, what's his game?
What's he on? Like, he's going to have this. Like, I don't know if it was drink fueled internally. I was like, fuck that, I'm only driving home. So I just jumped on it. Got to my house, got ready, like got some food or something. I done something, and then because I went to these guys after coming to my house. So I stopped in my house. So then I've left and gone to these guys in Cheshunt, and I've got to them. I'm calm, talking to them, and like gave them the food, chatting for a bit. I said I'm gonna duck out. I think I was going to meet one girl, if I'm honest, and then I leave there, and as soon as I pull off, lights come up behind me. No, like, I'm in this position where, like, do I pull over?
Had they been following you, or?
Nah, it was just like, I just literally pulled out,
coincidence.
And I was like, do I pull over? Now, obviously, I got food on me. I'm drunk. Like, it's like, and I'm not thinking straight. So I drop the gear and I shoot off up the high road. I'm doing like mad speeds.
What's mad speeds?
I'm on an R6, blue R6 with 4 exhausts. It was a big bike. So I'm on this now and I'm blowing. So I would say at least 100 down the high road. But I come to this bend in Cheshunt way too fast, right? And it starts snaking. Now,
what, the bike?
Yeah, and then it just flung me in the air. I got catapulted one way, the bike went another, helmet even come off and went another way of its own, right? I've gone through this wooden fence that's like 4 inch by 4 inch slats, the 3 of them, and I've just gone straight through them, and this side's gone straight through. I've gone down into the ditch. It all happened so fast, and then I'm in this ditch, I'm looking up, and then the Fed that's chasing me is there, and then I went to school with him. He was in that Hoddesdon school that I went to, charities, and he's like, Chris, stop moving, it's worse than you think. So I've got an open fracture that he can see. I'm trying to get away still, but I'm laying in this stream and the water's running over me. My legs, my body ain't going nowhere, and definitely my arm, and I feel like that water's my blood, but obviously some of it was, because I had like multiple blood transfusions. So I'm laying there, I'm in and out of consciousness now. And then I just remember like the fireman, 2 ladders, stretcher up and getting to the top and them saying, I need his blood. And I was like, fucked. I think the ambulance man was like, I need to save this guy's life. I didn't care about what he was doing. I was just like in and out of consciousness. And then that's it. I remember the next thing, I woke up in coming out of an induced coma after 6 weeks. And I'd broken like 10 ribs. I'd broken my scapula, I'd shattered my pelvis, I broke vertebrae in my back, I punctured both lungs, I had a massive head injury, which I got a massive scar. I stretched the nerves in my legs, so my legs were, I ripped the nerves out of here. I always butcher the name of what it's called, but it's, I think, a brachioplexus fracture or something like that. I broke, I done...
You was probably lucky to even be alive at this point.
I had like multiple blood transfusions. I lost so much blood. I didn't feel it. I come out of this induced coma and obviously everyone's around me, and the first thing I say is like, Bill, get me a drink. But they've gathered all my family and friends and like, look, this head injury is quite serious. We don't know what the actions are until we bring him out of the implications are until we bring him out of the coma. So when I come out of the coma, when I said, Bill, get me a drink, everyone's like crying, like, thank fuck. Like, but obviously my arm's there, but it's in scaffold. It stinks of rotten. It stinks like rotten flesh, man. It stinks like, and I'm looking at it and I'm fucking, like, as you can imagine, emotionally crying.
Did you know what was wrong at this point?
Yeah, it was just fucked, man. It just stunk. It just didn't move. It was just yellow. It was big. Yeah, it had metal casings and scaffolding tube things coming out of it, and it was just attached to me, like doing nothing.
Could you feel it or not? Nothing.
Nothing. I had nothing, no senses to it. My legs were like balloons. I was laying on the bed. I couldn't move because my legs had swollen up because the nerves were stretched. So I was laying there. I laugh because it's the alternative is emotions that I start crying, but it's like I was in a bad place, man. I was like, I can't explain it. I desensitized from it. I just didn't want to accept that this is my body in this position. Because who do you blame in that position when you've done it? Like, you hate yourself. And I already had no self-belief, no self-worth. I already felt inadequate. And now, look at me. I've fucking just proven it. Like, I've just reaffirmed that you are worthless. Look what you've done. Do you know? It wasn't a good time. I was in hospital for like 5 months. And like, obviously I wasn't a nice person before. And I laugh because these people had their opportunity to get me back. And I started getting messages like from fake accounts like, hi, glad you lost your arm.
That must have been devastating as well.
Mate, I've remembered it. So you always remember the things that hurt, don't you? They imprint the emotions. Yeah, they got me with that one. That one hurt. They done that one. That's a kick you out. That was a kick you out your dad.
Yeah.
And I felt it.
Yeah. Well, the thing is as well is like you'd probably cause a lot of pain yourself to a lot of other people, so you can see how people would want to react.
Oh, mate,
when it was their opportunity.
100%. It's like that's all again points back at me and my behaviour that made that happen. 100%. But like I didn't think that at the time because I was still in that mindset of blame. Like obviously I hated myself, but I wasn't like how I am now. So I was like, fuck them. Like, do you know what I mean? It was like, yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. And then a few weeks later, like after that, coming out and then messages, they come to me and they say, you're going to have your arm amputated because you've got sepsis. So obviously that was like, no.
How did you take that? Yeah, I was going to say, how did you take news like that?
I was like, no fucking way. You better save it. Please.
Yeah.
Please. And like, I was crying. I was begging them. I was like, no, please. Like, you have to save it. Like, I'm fighting back being emotional, I think, at this point. But yeah, it was like, it was bad. And then they said, well, your next of kin will have to do it if you don't, because we can't let you die. And like, I looked at my mum. She's got fucking tears streaming like you wouldn't believe. Like, how can I make her sign my arm away and then be angry and then pass that blame to her? Like, because I don't want to accept that it all lays on me. Fucking, I had to sign it. I had to. It was a dark place, man. Like, I signed it. I remember them wheeling me down because at this time I'd been out of the coma for a couple of weeks, so I couldn't walk. I was still bedbound, but I remember them wheeling me down. My mum next to me crying, her crying. The arm's still there, and like, then it gets to that stage where she can't go no further. You're going to the anaesthetist, is that how you say it? Where they put you under anaesthetic.
Oh, anaesthetic, yeah.
So the anaesthetist, and then I think that's how you say it. I might be wrong.
Anesthesia.
Yeah, like the person that does it, the actual thing. So they can't go no further, and then like, I remember them just putting it in. You're gonna feel sleepy, and then I went and I was gone, and I come out, and then I couldn't look to the right for time, bro. Like, after I looked, I couldn't look no more. I was just like, I was broken, yeah. That's probably, I would say the lowest, but it wasn't even the lowest point in my life. Like, it was a low point, but it gets worse.
I've heard of that thing, like, is it like a ghost?
Phantom limb pain.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can feel my fists now. So like, at first, I could feel my whole arm. One sec, I can feel my whole arm. Fingers, everything. But the specialist told me, he said, that phantom pain will ease and it will come up, like telescopic, come up. So now, where my arm is, my hand's like here. So this stump actually feels like that. But what it feels like is, it's like continuously like you're clenching it.
Is that what it feels like? It's tense.
Not clenching like a fist, but clenching like that. And it's just always like that.
Feel like
I can feel it now. I can move. I can feel every single finger now. But it's like here. It's weird. It's weird.
That's crazy.
That's the only way I can describe it.
And you said it's up here, and before you could feel it down
like,
here.
The stump's always been the same length, but the actual phantom pain.
The
hand was right down. It was the arm's length, how long the arm was, and gradually it's gone, and now it's just here where the stump is, but just like.
And what do they call it? Phantom pain.
Phantom limb pain, yeah.
And does it actually hurt?
It's discomfort, yeah.
Discomfort,
But
yeah.
like they give you medication to. It's the nerves. The nerves don't understand that.
What's going on?
Like they can't. So there is practices you can do. So you get this hand, and I've done it, and then you put a mirror here, and like you look at that hand
As if you're looking at your real hand.
yeah, and then you just like have to do this.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's like I can't remember
And
the
it
exact
helps
detail, but basically you have to do something which I've done years and years ago, and it helps.
Helps ease the...
Yeah, it does.
Does it?
Because I think I don't know how it does. It tricks it or something.
Yeah, it's
mad. Yeah.
It's proper psychological, isn't it?
Yeah, it's crazy.
So you've lost your arm at this point. Is that a point where you see it, your life turning around, and you like, I need to change my life at this point, or?
Not at all. Not one part of me thought that I was in a position where I was angry. I pushed everyone away. I hated myself. Like I told you, I had no self-worth. I felt inadequate. Well, now it was tenfold. I was depressed. I've never really... I wouldn't say I ever had depression. I had problems with emotions. I wouldn't say I ever was depressed until then. I was like clinically depressed. So they let me out of the hospital, got me some fucking prosthetic arm in the end that just hangs there that I couldn't be without, because it made me feel some normality. I just stayed in my house for time. Like my friends would knock on the door in my flat, and I would pretend I weren't in. I would pretend I weren't in to stay on my own. My mum would call me, I wouldn't answer.
What would you be doing?
Bro, just sitting there smoking weed.
Just numbing the pain.
Numbing the pain, maybe playing computer, like playing FIFA. Actually, no, I weren't at that time. I didn't play FIFA. I just sit in like depressed. I just needed to be on my own and just cry, I suppose, and just be negative to myself. And yeah, I just didn't feel comfortable around people. I hated the person I was. I never felt confident or like, I put on this bravado, but I never had real confidence, like stand in front of a stage and talk confidence. Like I never had confidence, inner confidence. I had a bravado confidence of a tough guy, which is fake, innit? Like, and that losing my arm only made me feel even worse in that position. So yeah, I just sat there for a time, didn't really do nothing, emotionally ate, got fat, really big, and just, yeah, I just existed.
Just like pushed everything down.
That's real depression, bro. When you're like, if you're in it, you're not talking about it. Like, I'll be honest with you, you're just sitting in there contemplating how you're gonna kill yourself. That's how I was. Like, my mum's been through it, but like, I'm sitting in that house. I'm not bringing no one around. I'm not talking to no one because I am depressed. I can't get out. I can't shake this mindset. I can't shake this way I feel. And all the blame was on me because I was the one that drove the bike. As much as I want to blame everyone else, I know internally, like, you crashed, you drunk drive. Like, I just existed, hate myself.
And did you not ever think at that point that like something needs to change? Like, how long did that kind of go on for? Like, because normally when you're sitting there with that pain for such a long period of time, it's like, it's discomfort, isn't it? It's not like people enjoy sitting in pain and feeling good about it. So weren't there a way, didn't you ever think to yourself, I need to heal, I need to...
No, I didn't. Like, the doctors, I was going to the doctors, giving me antidepressants. They tried to send me to Mind. Mind was like, we don't really do PTSD at this time, I don't know now. Then they sent me to some clinic in, like a PTSD clinic in Watford. And he said, look, this is too raw. You ain't ready to talk about this. And he was right. Like, I wasn't. So I didn't get no support.
What made him think it was too... Like,
because the way I am closed off and he's asking me questions, I'm like, I'm not ready for that. I wasn't ready. He's right. He's a specialist. He knows the way I'm not engaging, the way I'm flooding with tears when he talks about certain things. He knew that I wasn't ready. It was too open. It was too raw. So I end up meeting a girl, and that for me was like, okay, so maybe they do find you still attractive. Do you know what I mean? Like, because I was in the position where I didn't see me ever being happy with a girl because I didn't think I'd attract anyone because I'm this disabled person now. Not that I'd ever identified with that, but in my head it's like, well, you got one arm. And I ended up like trying to go back to that life to prove to myself that I'm still Chris.
The man.
I'm still that guy. I didn't ever think, oh, let's use this trauma, this adversity for an opportunity of growth and become a best version of yourself. No, it was like...
Still weren't ready for that either.
I didn't even think of that. It didn't even come into my mind. It was like, actually, why don't you go back to who you was and show everyone you can come back with a bang? And it didn't affect you. So that was a bravado, because we know it affects you because you're sitting in your house crying. But I was just putting on this facade, and then I started getting back into like selling tickets at that time. I built up a line which was quite profitable, but then I was also trying to do robberies again. And like one time, me and I'll say a couple guys got given a move, which is basically someone the middleman setting them up that they got insight on the job. And he's gone to us, you can go and rob this guy for boxes, yeah, of skunk. So the guy, we get his number, we say, oh, we want it. He says, oh, I'll pick you up, take you to mine, you show me the money and I'll tell them to come, and he'll come. So one of us had to go barefaced, and one of the guys went with him, went to the house. But we already knew where the guy lived because that inside guy had give us the drop. So as soon as my guys gone and met him, took him to the house, we just run in behind him, made him order the food. Now I've got one arm. Like, this is me seeking validation, trying to be the tough guy. We get him, put him down, make him order it. Then the guy comes, funny enough, from where I live, near where I live now, and he brings the food, and then we grab him up, we take it. And we're running off now, and I'm like feeling like that normality, and then my arm starts falling off because my prosthetic arm, yeah, if you run, if it gets sweaty, it would always fall off. Like summer, it was coming off all the time. It was so embarrassing. I'm standing there, my arm just drops off, and I've got something in my hand, and it's like on the floor.
How's it held on?
By a suction, I don't wear it now, but by a suction thing that rolls up, silicone thing.
Oh, right.
It's got a pin at the end of it, and then pin. But if that gets wet or sweat because of the heat, and obviously where I'm insecure, I'm wearing long sleeve t-shirts, and because you don't want the rubber hand to show too much, and it would just drop off. But while we're running, it's just dropped off, and it's like, oh shit, there's the reality check for you. Like, what are you doing? What are you playing at? So, yeah, and there's loads of things I've done. I've got into so many other things, even with one hand. So one time we were on a train and we got food on us again, always a problem. Transport police are coming up the train, and we've been getting off and walking up and trying to get away from them. So my friend, obviously the slide doors you can pull on the train. If you pull them while the train's moving, the train stops. Because it's an emergency still, because they think the doors are open. So it's an emergency stop. So he's pulled them, the train stopped, and then we've just jumped off. And they got us from the CCTV, and like they give me 15 months in prison for that.
Did they?
15 months in
really?
prison. Blackfriars Crown Court. He slapped me for that. I thought that's harsh. But yeah.
That was the longest from that point.
At that point, that was the longest one I'd done. Because I'd been on remand a few times before that for 6 months. But yeah, you give me 15 months for that.
So we're going back a little bit. After what happened with the police chase? So you woke up after you losing an arm.
Yeah.
Did you get any like punishment or?
I was in hospital, couldn't even walk in a wheelchair, and the police officer comes to me, and he's like, "I'm nicking you for X, Y, Z." I'm like, "Who's this guy?" I told the doctor, "Get him out of it." The doctor said, "Get out of it, leave him alone."
Like you even cared at that point.
And they made him go, but he just left the paperwork of like, you're being nicked. And I went to the judge for that, Crown Court St Albans, and he was like, "Chris, I can't punish you more than you punish yourself. Hopefully you learn from this."
So just nothing.
He gave me like a conditional discharge, like a conditional order or something, and probation would ring me up and say, "Do you want to come in today?" Like, they were very lenient, and I'd say no. And then sometimes they might send someone to my house to see if I'm all right for that year of depression. And she'll come, some lady, she was a volunteer, wasn't even a real probation officer. They didn't want to send a real probation officer, they sent some volunteer, and she was a really nice lady, and she'd come and see me, and that was it really, that's all they done. But they didn't take his advice, clearly.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. So the longest stretch then was the 15 months that you ended up doing next.
Yeah, and I've done a few times on remand in Bedford.
What was that like?
Bedford's, it's all right, man. I got on with all the Luton man, so you got a lot of Luton man in there. Tommy Robinson was in there one time.
Really?
Yeah, he was, but I didn't actually see him. But I was on B wing because I'd been to Bedford a few times, and the last time I was in Bedford, on A wing, it's changed now. You can't do it, so I'm not baiting it up. But we used to get dental floss and ping it with a spoon. Obviously, I didn't do it, but I was involved in it happening allegedly. And you get a spoon, but they put a nut on it, yeah, and ping the dental floss like 2 spoons, bend it back and ping it over the wall with the dental floss, with a little bit of strip from like a J cloth, so you could see it. So when it goes over the wall, the person on the other side can see it, and it will drop down. And what happens is they'll tie on a package and then put some fishing wire in, so we got something better. And like this was happening, and obviously the cameras, and allegedly I was they put me on a good order, because allegedly, which is good order and discipline, means like for the protection of the prison, they can hold you in the segregation or the block for as long as they want. Me, my cellmate at the time, my pal from Road at the time, we got put in the block. I got shipped to Peterborough. He got shipped to Leicester. I got the nice end. I went to the private jail. He went to some shit jail. But yeah, they held us for like a month in the block and then shipped us out. And then yeah, when I come the next time, they made me go on B wing because B wing isn't near the wall. So yeah, Tommy Robinson was in the block when I was up. Apparently he had a madness on the wing. I don't really know him, so there's no point in me going into it. Like he had a madness, and then he got shipped to Peterborough, and then after my shit happened, they sent me to Peterborough, and apparently he had a madness there when I was there, but I didn't see none of it. So I don't really know much about him. But there's a few people who've been in jail that you see.
You meet along
the journey. Everyone's just a number in there. Like obviously he's quite high profile, but
but for you, but for when you say everyone's just a number, for you guys, it's like the camaraderie. Like you almost like need each other along that journey as well. Like as you're all in prison, spending a lot of time together.
Yeah,
you must build up friendships. And
yeah, definitely. And there's like a camaraderie, like you're all in it together, and it's us against them sort of thing. But then there's
also, what it was like, us against them?
Yeah, kind of. But then there's also ones that you say you're not part of the us. Do you know what I mean? Okay. Because
why?
There's many reasons. The one, because they may, and this may sound like you just can't. I don't want to discriminate here, but like you just know if you're, as man would say, man them, like. That life. Yeah, you have your little clique, and that doesn't mean that your clique's better than any other clique, but you'll only be you'll be around us if we like do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
We have groups, and
so it was just like loads of
cliques. Yeah, people have their own groups who they associate with, and it's all based on how you come across, isn't it? And potentially what you're in for, how you move with the screws. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's so many aspects. You have to be careful. A lot of people turn funny, get debted up that you wouldn't think, or go to the officers and talk to them just to get certain things. Like prisons, like, yeah, it's wild, bro.
What was it like, you being disabled and being in prison?
I can manipulate the system a bit better, but I didn't know that at first. But like, I can definitely.
What's an like how?
Like I can make them do things like open my door. Like I need him to do this. Like I need him to come in here. Like especially when I worked out, right, cool. Because I'm disabled, I have to get a single. Once I knew that pattern.
A single is?
Single cell, so I don't bang up with no one. Medical single, can't say nothing about it. I'm disabled, I just use that like, I don't want to take my top off in front of people. They can't really argue.
That was enough?
They have to give me a single.
Really?
Every time. But then what I do is make sure I get the single, which is always on the system. And then I'll be like, all right, well, I need him to come in here and do this. Like if I've not got a job and I'm not out, I was like, you might as well just give me a job, then I can get people to help me while I'm out, and I could use that to get a job quicker probably, and live better. That's about it. Like, they don't give a fuck about anything, but if you're in the block, they don't care. I remember that time I told you I got shipped to Bedford, I was saying to him, look, I need this, I need that. I was like, I was making up like, I can't wash under this arm, right? And do you know what he come? He come with a brand new brog brush and said, yeah, I use that. I said,
wow.
I said, are you nuts?
Yeah.
Take your fucking brog brush back. But I was, they were just being...
trying it anyway.
They're just taking the piss. I just wanted to get out of the block quicker, really. That was but yeah, like you can you have to just play your cards, I suppose, and having one hand, there's many, I didn't know at the time, but there's many laws, like they're called PSIs, which they have to follow in order to be treating people equally. So, and there's a lot of laws that you can put on them. And once I learned that didn't come till later, but yeah.
So that it don't affect your human rights.
100%, because being disabled, you automatically, when you're like a public place, like a prison is a public thing, isn't it? It's a body of a public, so they have to adhere to certain laws. And once I started to understand that, then my time was smooth, bro. My time was smooth because I didn't know that at first. It took me a while to get to that, and it took me a while to be patient enough not to react, which we'll get to. But yeah, once I learned that, then yeah, I could use it to be in a better position in prison. But yeah, there's no different. Like, I can just get a little few more perks. Like, I don't
Still got to do the time.
Yeah, I don't get no time. I just get out of my cell a bit more, or I might get like resistance bans when people ain't allowed them, or do you know what I mean? Just stupid shit, but that's good. That means a lot to us when you're training hard. So like, yeah, nothing major.
Were you training much in the prison?
It depends. Not at the beginning. At the first, I was just eating cookies. I was, and everything that comes with it. And I swear, like that, because when I went to like, we ain't even got to that part. Like, later on, I had a madness, and I got a big sentence. So
what did you do?
So I was drug dealing again with one arm. I had the runner now. This guy, I'd known him since I was 10. Like, and I said to him, like, just you shot, I'll hold the phone because I want to see what's coming in, and I'll just tell him to go. So that was going good, and then someone told me like, and I've been up partying and drinking, and someone told me, like, yeah, he was doing it cheaper than you when I bumped into him in the pub. So I'm like, I know you can't do that. Told him, bring all the food here now. So he comes, it's light. Anyway, what happens is he gets stabbed, section 20, and they said demanding money for menace, which is blackmail, because I demand.
Well, you stabbed him?
Yeah, like, not, I don't like to say it, but yeah, he got stabbed by me in the lower back. This time I was crazy, still wild, still dealing with trauma, still like not processing, I mean, and suppressing emotions and just acting how I feel, and just, yeah, that's what happened. Like, I demanded my money with menace, they say. So that's blackmail. And then, false imprisonment. So I ended up getting remanded. Got remanded for that. And I'm sitting on remand, and like, the first day I landed back in Bedford, funny enough, my guy's there. So I had a phone the next day, and I'm patterning up. I'm talking to my good friend that's on the road, and he's like, it's calm, man. My man ain't going court, allegedly. So there's me, not guilty. First time I go to court, 6 months later, first time I go to court, my man don't turn up. I'm like, yeah, man's going home. The judge said he's got till tomorrow. Well, I have to dismiss this case. Bro, they brung him there, put him behind the screen. Now, he's saying, I take a lot of drugs. I don't think Chris did it, yeah? This is what he's saying in the doc. They're like, you're hostile. Yeah, I didn't even know you could do this until that day. They said, you're hostile, meaning like you're in fear for your life, you're not going to speak. Go home. We're going to read your first statement and proceed with this case off of his first original statement. So we can't cross-examine him. We can't say, why did you say this? Why did you say that? They just read his first statement to the jury, and that was him as a witness.
That's enough.
Well, of course. And the fact that I didn't have no fucking leg to stand on, I was going on the fact that I'm hoping he don't come court. The judge slapped me, gave me a 10.5 EDS. And like, luckily he didn't have a clue what he was giving, because the EDS was new them times. It's like the new IPP. And he was like, but you're served 5 years, 3 months of your 10.5 EDS. I was like, all right, cool. I wasn't. I was fucking like emotional. I was thinking my life's over. It's a wrap. Because like, going to prison, and I was 30 at the time, like 29 at the time, traumatized, bro, like in pieces. And now I'm in prison for the next 5 years or whatever. And I get into prison, they come and give my whatever, the Oasis, and say, your first parole is in 7 years. I said,
first parole?
Yeah, because what the judge didn't know in the sentencing, he's given me a 10.5 EDS, told me I'll do 5 year, 3 months, but an EDS, extended determinate sentence, you have to do 2/3 and go for parole.
Right.
So he didn't have a clue. So instantly there's grounds of appeal there because he's misread the state.
Oh,
because he's fucked up.
Okay.
So we didn't appeal on that. We appealed on the sentence because how the fuck can you read a statement and then how's that a fair trial? But they granted grounds of appeal on the sentence. But when I got to the Court of Appeal, they said no, we're just going to reduce they granted grounds of appeal on the conviction, sorry. And when I got to the Court of Appeal, they said, look, we're just going to reduce your sentence to 8.5 years EDS. But that was 18 months later, after I'd been in prison 18 months. And them 18 months, I weren't training. I was eating shit. I remember I got into a madness with one guy. Like we had a fight. And I was in the block again, because I was always on basic and always just being stupid. I think it's a reminiscence of when I was in school. I was like that. Defiant against them, no accountability. And I'm in the block now and I'm looking at this block window, right? And at the time I've got 7 years to do, apparently. And I'm like, still holding that same pain, still feeling like I don't want to live, still depressed, still emotionally unstable, but yet looking out of a block now, got 7 years, like nothing's, like it's just intensified all them negative emotions you was trying to escape by doing this. And you're now not only confined to a cell, you're actually riding 42-day CC in the block. Like, it gets no worse. And I think when people say to me, was losing your arm the worst situation? No, it wasn't. It was probably the realization of all of them mistakes I've done, and we'll come to that later. I think it's that part what really changed my mindset. It's like, my worst part was when I worked out it was me that was fucking making all this happen. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, so I was in Peterborough there for a bit, and then because of the sentence, I get shipped to Loudon Grange. Beautiful jail. You get there, I say beautiful jail like it's Buckingham Palace, but you get there and it's like, it's all neat, tidy. There's no, like, Bedford, I've just come from an old Victorian jail. There's rats, there's cockroaches. You have to keep the lights on so the cockroaches don't come on you, otherwise they're on you. And you're blocking up every hole because there's untold cockroaches in Bedford. And then you go to Peterborough, that's private, so it's nice, but not like Loudon Grange. Loudon Grange got all greenery, like you get out your cell all day, the food is amazing. It's a long-term prison.
Why some prisons better than...
budgets. Like HMPs are just shit, you expect that. But like you go from a HMP, they give you and this is little things, but they matter. They give you a green sheet and an orange blanket, like proper itchy. But obviously, you go to a private, they give you a nice duvet, a single duvet. Like them little things mean things, right? And a proper pillow. You get in a police cell a pillow in a HMP, unless you buy your own, which takes time to get your money and all that on your spends. So when I went to Loudon, different kettle of fish, man. The canteen is all their own. They make their own canteen. It's not through DHL. They do it themselves. The food's amazing, like for prison. The wages are good. Like, but it was a 6-month waiting list for a job, but the wages were good.
What sort of work would you be doing?
Well, first, when I got there, I had my prosthetic, yeah, and I had a little Zanko from fucking, which is a smart, it's not a smartphone, it's a phone, innit? And I had that in my prosthetic, and I never wear the prosthetic in prison.
Well, you hid it in there?
Yeah, but I swear I had it, and I was getting spun in Peterborough all the time, they never found it. And I have that in there, yeah, and I never wear the arm in prison. It's always under my bed. But when I was getting transferred there, I had it on. Now, I've come into reception, and now I know I got this arm, I got this thing, so I'm kicking off now, like, fuck, this is taking too long. But I'm trying to distract them from thinking x-raying his prosthetic arm, because other jails have said, take your arm off, we're x-raying it.
Yeah.
And so I'm kicking off, but they didn't even x-ray it. And when I got in there, no one had phones in Loudon at that time, because there was a guy called the phone jacker, and you couldn't get a phone in there. Like, as soon as it goes on, he'd have a scanner, and he'd be at your door coming through. So you could only use it on the exercise yard or in Soch. So to even have one was like a little Zanko from what I paid $150 has just gone 10 times up to £1,500. But yeah, so I was in there with that, but I didn't want to tell no one. These are all long-term people.
I bet.
They've all got like no one's got under a 10 there, and a lot of life has come from dispersal, which is long-term life for jobs, and go there when they're coming down and cat. So you don't know who to trust in there. So I didn't tell no one for months. I had it just sat in my arm. But it was good. Like, you could get out, play football all the time. It's the only exercise I've done. They had a full-size AstroTurf, and like, I'll just go and play football. And I was bare off balance because I was still fat, and I was like, one arm, first time I've run and like played, like, not like apart from running away from things, like the first time I've actually played, I was out of breath, but it was good. I enjoyed it. Like, but still, I didn't start fixing up then until like later.
So like, what came about for you to wanting to start change about?
So everyone I meet would be like, fucking hell, your story is unique. Like, you got one arm, like, and you're in here on an EDS for like that. They called me Wunny. They started calling me Wunny in Loudon. And they said, you should write a book. So I started writing that, yeah. And it was like so traumatic because I was right-handed. So I'm here with the left pen in my left hand, and I'm writing this book, and
to learn to rewrite all over again.
But the trauma of it, like, think it's not the learning, it's the fucking memory of fucking that. It's bringing up that accident and flashbacks of crashing again. What I've just, do you know what I mean? It was, but I was doing it anyway, and it was like so painful. But like, what I was writing was so relieving, because if you journal or put your life on paper. And what I learned at least from Brene Brown again, like how important it is to just put down all the shit you've been through, because then you don't just, it's not just internally in your mind, it's actually in physical form. You see it, you read it, you write it, and
do you feel like you externalize it?
Yeah,
rather than holding on to it.
It's a fantastic way of processing everything. So I didn't understand at the time, but when I was writing everything down, it was like, fuck me, like, wow. Like, yes, you've done a lot of bad shit, and there's no excuse for your behaviour, but you can kind of understand the patterns and why. And then I met some guy that taught me about the PSIs, and he taught me about, he said, like, Oasis scores, if you want to get to DCAT, because then I got my appeal, my sentence went down. He's like, now you've got, like, been in 18 months, another 18 months you're in DCAT. I was like, whoa,
it's an incentive.
He's like, you should be doing your courses. Why ain't you done Resolve? I said, I told him to fuck off. He's like, well, you need to do that, otherwise you ain't going nowhere. So I done that. Got my CCAT, but like, he helped me with my scores. My Oasis score was stitched up because of my attitude, the way I was not engaging with probation. I had like high, very high. He's like, I've never seen very high, and I've been in dispersal doing this. It's like, I think maybe the emotions, maybe the way I didn't engage, and the trauma that I went through, they thought, yeah, his risk is high because he's not dealing with his shit. So he helped me. Then I got to, and then I had CBT within that time, which it didn't really help, but it helped a bit. And actually doing Resolve helped in a sense. Like, that's a violence reduction course, but what it done is it taught me about emotions, and I never really knew about emotions. So it taught me, I do that, and I started getting curious with my own shit. And then I played the system, like, in a way of like, just keep getting, just progress, like play the thing, get down, get out of here. Got to CCAT, stayed there for 6 months, caused a bit of disruption with them, like with like complaining, using my disability as a tool, and like, and they just had the riots at the Mount when I got there, and the conditions after the riots was terrible. Like, we was getting exercise yard in a room not much bigger than this, with like fucking 70 people. You weren't allowed to do that, but
this was after what, sorry?
They had riots at the Mount, and I got shipped there after the riots, and that's why I didn't want to go there. I didn't want to go because I knew that they've just had mad riots at the Mount, so they shipped me there, and I'm there. So I'm using everything this guy's taught me. So I'm like, all right, cool, you got this, you're not doing this, you're breaching this PSI. And then in the end, right, they gave me this job, right? This lady come and said, I want you to be a disability rep. So I was a disability rep. I was advocating, going around for people, red band, helping people with disabilities. Really, I was just going from, I would go and see them, but I'd go and see all my friends on other wings and play FIFA. Like, because don't forget, you make friends from jail and you bump into them at the next jail. Like, there's one guy who used to cut my hair from Bedford when I first went in. And like, I ended up with him in Loudon, ended up with him in the Mount. And then I didn't end up with him in DCAT. But like, you see these people throughout that. So What happened next? I can't remember what it was.
So you'd cross paths with a lot of people on this journey.
Yeah.
And why this gentleman that you met that was advising you? Why did you start listening to him? Like why?
Because he had, I don't know. We got on. We was talking, and we was on the wing together, and like he was like, "Oh, you can get." I got him paid as a carer. That's what I did actually, because he said to me, "You can have a carer, yeah." And it's just a way of getting him some ready. He's like, "Okay, cool, they'll pay you," and he ain't got to do nothing, and it gets us out and whatever. So like I can always say, "Oh, I need him to come," and then have to come and open the door. And it was just a way of, like I told you before. So like we would always chat, and like he was doing like a life sentence. He'd been in like a long time, and he was just cool. Like the way he was a bit nuts. I'm not gonna lie, and I think most lifers are. No offense to lifers, but I feel like majority of them, it starts frying their brain a bit, and they're probably going to cuss me for that, but it's true. I've got a couple of pals that are going to say, "What are you talking about?" But a lot of them, not all of them, a lot of them, and yeah, like I just listened to him, and he would always get what he wants with the way he eloquently writes a complaint or whatever it is he's trying to do to get what he wants of them. He would get it, even if they refuse. He would always win, and they would come to him and say, "What do you need?" Like they didn't like the way he used the pen, and sometimes the pen is more mighty than the sword, and especially in prison, because they love that. You want to fight them, love that. They'll wrap you up and put you in a block, and you'll be in a block, and you'll have no TV. But you start getting them with a pen and saying, "Well, actually, this is breached. Actually, you're not following this," and then they don't like that. They don't like that, because I had an instant in there. It was before I met him actually, and I got wrapped up by them because I got drunk and I was acting up on distilled, and distilled is like a hooch. We make hooch with like fruit and that. Then you get it and you cook it on
like a moonshine.
Yeah. So what you do, you get a kettle element, you boil it up, the hooch up, and you have cold water at the top. So and then you have a bowl in there. So when it hits the cold water, the condensation, the thing that drips down is pure alcohol.
Right.
So people do it, and it's like crazy.
What's it taste like?
Oh, fuck knows. You drink it with like, you drink it with like a pineapple juice or a KA or something,
right.
or whatever you want to drink it with, like Coke. But it's lethal, man. Honestly, it's lethal, man. It had me going mad, and then I got wrapped up, put in a block, and like they come in and wrap me up, and they didn't know how to carry me. And what they done, they end up lifting me right in the air, holding my hand bent up. And I got to the block, and I'm in the block, and this is before I met that guy in the same prison in Loudon, and I'm in the block now, and I can't move my hand. I'm saying to him, "Look, honestly, I think it's broke." They're saying, "Fuck you," like just didn't give a fuck, left me there. But the thing about in the block, the governor will have to come around every morning, and so does the doctor, or sometimes they send a nurse, and often you get like not listeners, IMB or whatever it is, IMBM, and they come, the doctor come. I said, "Look, mate, I can't do nothing with this hand." He said, "This guy needs an x-ray." Took me for an x-ray. They'd broken my wrist, actually broken it, and then they still left me in the block with a cast up to my fingertips for like at least a week.
You've got.
Oh, I was fucked. I couldn't do nothing. I was having to eat like a dog. Honestly, like it was hard. Like you couldn't get the spirit. It was peak. Honestly, that was peak. Yeah, and I sued them for that. In the end, I did sue them for that. But then I met him after. And that's when I started.
Did you get paid?
Yeah, I got paid for that, but rightly so.
Yeah, 100%.
Rightly so.
So it sounds like you started shifting at this point.
Yeah.
After meeting this.
Yeah, and doing Resolve and writing my life down. Yeah, that was thing. I don't think it, and doing Resolve actually helped me emotionally, like I said, but I don't think. It just made me like think, all right, I want to get to DCAT. That was my goal. I had a goal written down, and I actually writ that goal in Resolve. They're like, "What goals do you want?" I said, "Maintain, enhance, and get DCAT," and that happened. I got to, like I said, I went to the Mount, got refused DCAT at first. I appealed it using what I learned of him. They overturned it, give me my DCAT, and then shipped me in the first bus when people had been waiting 3 months, and they shipped me to a jail. They didn't accept me and sent me back. I was like, this is bullshit. And then 2 months later, I went to Ford, and I got to Ford with like 21 months. When at the time the maximum you could go was 2 years, so it wasn't too bad. I got there with 21 months. And yeah, like then my life, I feel like I really started elevating myself. I got there, I was 108 kg. Now I know that don't sound like a lot, but
How tall are you?
with one arm and
Oh shit!
one arm.
Yeah.
People always forget that part. I have to emphasize that with one arm, I got skinny legs. Well, not so much now. I wear shorts. I don't skip leg day. But like, yeah, I was top heavy. I was fat. I had a big like roll. Like, my friend used to say your head's like, when he cut my hair, the guy at the barber I told you about, he used to say it's like doing a Shar-Pei dog. That's what he used to say. I said, okay. So I got there. I was overweight and like, but I met this guy Sam, and I was working with him, and he's like in for white collar crime, which is irrelevant. But the thing about him, he's a Harvard graduate, yeah, successful like businessman, very rich, yeah. But he's done something wrong, obviously, he's in prison. And like, we was just talking, he's obviously assessing me, most intelligent guy I've ever met, especially when it comes to analysing and knowing what people need and how their deficiencies. He's just really on point, yeah? And we're talking, and like, I was like, yeah, I want to write a book. And he's like, I said, I want to become an author. He's like, well, have you written it? I said, actually, I've written down, at that time it was 40,000 words, like roughly. When I put it on computer, it was 40,000 words. He's like, I'm impressed. And then he read
all with one hand as well.
Yeah, all that. I told him that, and he said that. And then he's the only person I showed my book to at that time, and he read it, and he was like, "Look, this is your opportunity to change. Like, you have been through so much. You could help people. You could become a speaker. You could be a lecturer. You could have a case study on your life and help. Like, this is." And he just instilled this. He had this way of, and he still does to this day, has this way of instilling hope, inspiring me, and making me feel motivated, encouraging me. And I honestly, without him, I wouldn't have had that direction. So he helped me create a business plan, what I want to do, and then gave me specific goals that I want to achieve. And
what do you think the best advice you ever got from him was?
I just feel like being that the first positive male role model that's put their arm around me and said, look, mate, I believe in you, you can do this. I think it was enough. Honestly think it was enough. With the fact that I've worked on a bit of emotions, then like that was main, the writing the book. Then I started reading a lot because he was like, do you read? I'm like, no. He's like, you want to become an author but you don't read? Like, really? Like looked at me like I'm a nutcase. And I remember how limited my vocabulary was, and he was like to me, every time you read, any words you don't know, get the dictionary and make sure you fucking learn that word until you know words. And then I was one time, he said, because honestly, he was talking about my book, and he's like, you know, society failed you. And I was like, huh? I don't even know what society meant. And that's how low my vocabulary was. That's how much I was in the street. Like, I didn't even know what that meant. I was like, what's that mean? And he had to explain it to me. And then when like he started seeing the progress, he's like, oh my God, like he was and I find a lot of people with money, like that's what makes them happy, making other people become better. Do you know, like once they're confident in themselves and where they are, not even with money, but when people are content where they are, they want to bring other people up. And that was what he got out of it, because I always thought, what's this guy's motive? Like, because that's our mentality. Yeah, it was I see how when he got released before me, and when I actually eventually got out, he was like, oh my God, like he was like, that was his proud moment, seeing the way that I was speaking. He's like, your vocabulary changes. No more, well, go on, bruv. You know, like he's like, you're growing as a person. But I also have discourse convention where I can go in and speak that way to them in prison because I can relate. But like he was amazed by that, and that I see that's what makes him tick. That was what he done it for.
So you found reading really helped change your
massive, man. I still read like now a lot. Yeah, because I just learned so much from books I was reading. I was fascinated by these books. I was reading so I still do so many self-help books I've read, but I also read some books about childhood trauma and ACEs. And when I was in that DCAT, I actually went to a talk with Sam, and it was a lady from a charity called Cursler Arts. Her name's Sally, and I was like, okay. Sam was like, well, maybe you should work there, because they run arts and crafts competitions in prison, but there's so many categories, 52. Like there's writing, storytelling, music, rap. Like,
and what did you do?
I asked to work at their office,
right? Like
with her, because we knew that someone had just left that worked there before, and they approved it, and then I ended up working there. So when I was getting the train, I was reading an hour and a half on the way. It took me an hour, 2 hour and after 2 hours. I'd read on the way there, I'd read on the way back. I'm doing lots of books. That's when I started really thinking. And then I was doing podcasts as well, and I come across like Brene Brown, and this when I started seeing these people, and Nadine Burke Harris, who's a adverse childhood experience, the leading lady in that in America. And like I started reading Body Keeps the Score, and I started really doing all this work while there on myself, just to understand why I act the way I do, and why I believe that like that's a disrespect, and it brings why is that intense emotion coming up? What is the root cause of that? And being aware of all this, like shame, ACEs, and how they impact you is the first step. Because if when I weren't aware of it, I wasn't in control, was I? I wasn't consciously aware of what was going on. I was just reacting. I knew that I was doing wrong, but sometimes I couldn't control how I felt, the emotion that I felt, and the way it made me feel. But once you're aware of where it's coming from, it gives you a whole different lease or control on them.
But it sounds like being on that journey of self-healing as well, you've definitely got a lot more understanding of yourself. You're in more control. I think when you're in that kind of really dark, negative place, things are spilling out left, right, and centre. So it's quite interesting, because I see it like you're taking a blindfold off in life, and then it's like, oh shit, I've got all of this other work now to do, like, and focus on. But it gets a bit addicting as well, because you start seeing positive change rather than negative change. You start seeing this kind of positive flow, and I can imagine that's exactly what started happening for you. You started going on this path of positive change rather than going back, feel like self-harm, self-sabotage kind of place.
Yeah.
So what you've come out of prison, and then you've started doing what with yourself?
Well, before I come out, I was in there and I lost like 5 stone. I was really focused.
You started getting in shape back in prison.
Like, as soon as that shame, and I felt like I've shown Sam that, and I was met with empathy and connection, like I said about, she says, it kind of released that, and it was like, self-worth. He's giving me a direction, he's giving me support, encouragement. So I started getting really physically fit, like caring about myself, what I put in, my nutrition. When I come out, like I was doing that, I was meditating, and I was focused on, I wasn't too sure of how I was going to do it, but I wanted to help people. The first thing I tried was like raising awareness and playing celebrities on computer and stupid things, but it had no meaning to it. So it was like, how are we going to make an impact? And I worked with Sam to like, how can I get out there? So he always pushes me to get the book done. You need to get the book done. You need to be talking to people. You need to be putting content out. And yeah, it's just like, I say I want to be in schools. I want to be in prisons talking. And it's just, at first, that was what was happening. And then someone reached out to me and I hadn't seen him for years, but he was saying he's in a bad way. He likes what I'm doing on social. Can I help him? End up going with him to some girl's house, and like, he was all out of his nut, making up. The girl wanted him out of the house in the end, and he actually made an allegation against me, and I got recalled for a year for that. Because what happened is, he said that I kidnapped him at gunpoint, right? And
why?
I don't know. I think it was. I honestly can't answer that, but I think he was afraid that I was going to do something because of what I've done before, maybe. Because the girl told him to get out. I said I'll drop him home. I'm driving him home. Like, how can I fucking hold a gun and point it at you while driving with one hand? This is what I said in the interview. I said to them, look, I don't need this, Liz. This is ridiculous. I got nicked at gunpoint for that. They come.
Is that what happened?
I was in a hotel and I had 5 fucking big
police with
guns pointing at me in my boxers. And then they pinned me down. They're like, how are we going to handcuff him? I was like, you seen I'm in my boxers. Like, what are you doing? But they're so brutal when they come. It's like, get your fucking hand, because they think there's a gun. I will shoot you and all that shit. And then, so I end up going in the interview saying, look, I was here, I was there. You can contact this girl. You can go to them. They said, we've done all that. So they never charged me. Never ever charged me, because it was never going to be a charge. But because I was on license, they recalled me. And then they NFA'd it after like 8 weeks, which is like no further action from the police, case like over. But then I couldn't get out for a year. So that put everything, and I went to high down. I was in there for a year, or 11 months, 3 weeks. And then I got out again, back on the tracker again. So I was backwards. But then I started it all again. Like I knew I still wanted to do it. And I just learned from then, like, you has to be controlled. You have to do it in a way where you're protected, they're protected. And like you can't just be going around thinking you can, because look where it calls you.
Help people.
Especially when people are struggling, like you don't know where they're at. So now it's about doing things the right way. And I learned from that. It was a harsh lesson, but I learned from it. And that's the one thing I think that I've never done, but I've started to do, is learn from things I go through. Because I used to not, clearly, because you see from what I've done, but like now they're the best opportunities for growth, because I'm like, right, I analyse that, and I'm like, ooh, like this was wrong, that was wrong. And I need to get better here, I need to get better there. And yeah, I never used to do that.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I used to be a nightmare for that. I used to just keep getting burnt by fire all the time, keep going round in circles and going in circles. But it's an eye-opening experience when you do realise that actually you can actually redefine how this goes for next time. You know, so I can really appreciate it. So what about speed? Like, have you been doing talks?
So my main target and my goal is, like, I've been through so much trauma as a kid. I was impacting society in a negative way. These are called adverse childhood experiences, like your dad going to prison, people putting you down, and the racist abuse, all these like type of things. There's 10 of them, there's an actual thing. But like 80% of prisoners in the UK have suffered from this, yeah? But they never delve into that when you're in there. So I want to raise awareness of it. I'm going into prisons this month. I've been into schools. And what I want to do is I want to share my narrative and then hope that makes them get curious like I did and do the work. Because obviously it's a lot of work. It's easier to blame. But like, if I can say, well, look, this is what happened to me. This is why, like, I was this. And we normally start it like, this is how it will be started. It's like, I was like this, done this crime, X, Y, Z, and tell you what I've done. But how did I become like that? Reflect back. So how did I become a guy with one arm doing these mad crimes? Reflect back. Well, I had a crash in 2008 that cost me my arm. How did I become someone that was drink driving in a police chase? Reflect back to my childhood. And it's all about making them reflect back with me. So then it's like,
relatability.
So I'm... Do you know what I mean?
You become relatable.
You're reflecting and you're actually becoming more self-aware, because you're actually going over what you've done and you're analysing what's going on. So that's how I do, or that's how the speech is structured. I'm collaborating with that charity I told you called Cursor Arts, who are offering a package to prisons. Like, we got Chris, like, obviously they run they've been working 60 years within prison, but they've done a package where they've offering me, because they paid a guy called Ryan, who I introduced to train me to become a better, because he's done a TEDx, become a better public speaker. And shout out to him, I think he's working. And like, they're offering a package in the prisons where I go in and speak in a collaboration with them. We're not sure how, if it gets traction. I've already started writing a course that we could implement, like an awareness course, just to say to prisoners, this is how ACEs impact your brain development. This is how they make you unable to regulate emotions and more likely to engage in risk-taking behaviours or poor coping mechanisms like substances, which all indirectly or directly contributed to crime. But just give them that awareness. And if you're interested in overcoming that, X, Y, Z, do you know what I mean? And give them the way to like work on it and start the work. And I think that would be a course that, but I think depending on the traction I get and the response I get from when I give the speeches will define how far we go with that course.
Why is it important for you to want to help others at this point?
Because, bro, like, I wasted so many years. Like, when I look back, and that was the most painful part of my journey, is the realization that no one's coming to save you, bro. It's all on you. You've put yourself in this position. You've acted this way. You've dealt with it all shit. Yep, you had a hard past, blah, blah, blah. But everything's on fucking you. And the quicker I would have learnt that, and the quicker I help other people learn that, the better their life will be from then. So, yeah, it's important because I believe it's my purpose now, like, in a sense. Do you know what I mean? Like, to just make a positive impact through my experience. I didn't go through all this and survive and then not to have a reason to do something about it. So it's massively important for me. I can't. I just feel like I've just spoke to a speaking agency, and I'm thinking of other avenues for myself. So again, Ryan put me onto a speaking agency that I've got talks on resilience and inclusivity, where I can go in and talk to corporates about my journey and share insights and things to make them more resilient and be more inclusive and understand the complexities of inclusivity from a disabled person who used to be abled. So kind of understands both dynamics.
100%.
Yeah, but yeah, the prison transformation is really key to me, and even helping the youths, if I can get in younger and help them process it. I think there's a lot of work going on, but I think I'm very specific with what I'm doing. I think no one comes out of the womb like angry. I think it's definitely what we go through. Some people are better at channeling it, because look, like 80% of prisoners in the UK have suffered from ACEs, but ACEs are common. Like I think it's like 49% of people in the UK have had one or more. So the amount of people that go on to go to prison from ACEs is very small. I understand that, yeah. A lot of people deal with it. They may have had like one bad parent on it, or they may have just been able to deal with it, or whatever their reason is, they haven't gone to prison. But the prevalence in prison is 80%. So we know that the majority that are in prison can't have gone through it and haven't been able to deal with that. So I think if that's not a dynamic to start tackling, if you want to reduce recidivism, then or crime, it screams where to start for me. And my hypothesis is like, it's what changed me, so it works. Now it's proven.
You're a proven track record.
No, yeah, proven in the dynamics of like doing like work and doing.
You're still on your journey though, right?
Yeah, of course. I'm not like saying I'm fucking fixed here. And I don't think I'll ever be fixed.
None of
but
us.
Like,
ever.
if you're doing a study, you would study a lot more people. But for me, I've been through it. I was so anti, and when I had that realization and writ down my life and had a mentor that said, "Yo, this is what's happening," I changed. And anyone that knows me before would say it, they wouldn't believe it. So if I can do it, I know that it works. So why are we like, it's basically screaming for me like, yeah, this works. It's proven. I know it works. Like, and it's we know that most people in prison have these issues. So let's tackle it. Also, yeah, that's why I go to schools. I think scaring them with my story about drink driving, and there's many layers where we can hopefully give them key learnings. Yeah, it's just, I feel like that's my passion now. And obviously that's it. That's what I'm going to do till I can. It's something bigger than me. I think you have to have a purpose where you think, or a goal that you think you may never achieve it, but it's a good goal to be tackling. It
sounds like you've already started achieving it, to be fair. It's just at what level all the time. Yeah. It's like that version of success, isn't it? It's like, you know, whether you've already started the wheels in motions, now you want to see how far you can take it.
Of course, yeah.
So, no, you should be super proud of yourself, though, man. Like, I know we've laughed about some of the kind of like naughtier stuff, but it's good to see that you've kind of grown beyond that, and you're actually trying to make a difference as well to people's lives.
Yeah, I honestly think like the naughty stuff, we have to give context so you can understand. But the real thing that matters is people learn from it, or this they can relate to this, and they say, okay, I'll go and read The Body Keeps the Score, and then they really understand themselves. Well, they say, all right, they go and look at Brene Brown and they start understanding that, and that helps them change their life, or Nadine Burke-Harris, or all these like people that are professionals in it, and then they start understanding, okay, and then like, do you know what I mean?
Who knows what happens? Yeah, just get people thinking,
because it's normally related to something that's happened. It normally always is, isn't it?
Well, look, I mean, do you know what? I've really enjoyed that, to be honest with you, Chris. So thank you for coming here today.
No, it's been great.
It's been an absolute pleasure, and I look forward to seeing what happens for the future for you.
100%, mate. Thank you.
All the best, brother.
Thanks.